triangular table, it was cool to be on there once, but I saw the report and it was really cheesy.
This has been the triangular table,
where we've got your angles covered.
It was so awesome being on the triangular table. I can't believe we were on TV. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that they chose our presentation to be featured on the news report. It was so cool.
And in terms of learning or improving our cognitive skills,
okay, so for our experiment, we want to test both how the hippocampus affects both reference memory and working memory.
Ugh, I just wish the feature was longer.
ugh, the feature was just too long. And what was up with those weird camera angles?
So, building the maze? Yeah, it wasn't that hard. We modified its dimensions from a previously made 8-arm radial maze and took out the base so that we could have it on the floor with a tablecloth so that it was easier to clean between trials. The weirdest part though is that we built it in a public lounge, so it was super awkward when people just kept walking past us, especially like in front of the camera because we were recording the whole thing. So it was kind of weird and people were clearly wondering what we were doing.
It was cool building the maze, but it took 4 hours. And the cardboard was so thick, my hands hurt for days after. I'll just cut the whole thing since I'm on a roll.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What did I think about the maze? Well, when I saw the maze, I was really excited, and it gave me a sense that Chiari and Maria were really into their projects. The maze was beautiful, it was complicated, and it was everything I would have expected from a maze that I purchased from the store.
The maze was perfect when we made it.
But it became bent after moving it a couple of times.
What did we do for pre-testing? Well, after we finished building the maze, we put Norman and the sham rat into the maze to get them used to the maze for 10 minutes. A sham rat is a rat that undergoes the same surgical procedures, except his brain isn't lesioned. After habituation, we put in Fruit Loops, a quarter of a Fruit Loop in arms 2, 4, 5, and 8, and then we put the rats back in again to see whether they can find the food or not. But what we found was that they were not motivated enough to find all the Fruit Loops.
So, we decided to motivate them further by removing their food 5 to 6 hours before testing. The results showed that our sham rat found all Fruit Loops within 10 minutes, while our test rat took all the 30 minutes but still didn't find all the food. This is kind of problematic because if we had more trials we would have done more training, but we needed to perform the surgery that week.
After injecting Norman with atropine sulfate and pentobarbital, he became unconscious. I then shaved his head and Jason mounted him on the stereotaxic for us.
I prepared the incision site with alcohol and iodine. Then we washed up using aseptic techniques, and then I injected lidocaine in the head in a mohawk fashion.
Next, I made the incision. It felt very different than it did on a pig's feet, so it took a couple of tries to get it ready. Next, Maria and I then worked together to push back the periosteum. After we found the bregma, I measured the coordinates and Maria marked the drilling points.
After measuring out the coordinates, then came the scariest part, drilling. After practicing on paper cups, we then did it on the skull. I did the one side and Kiati did the other side.
Like a surgeon, cutting for the very first time.
Yeah, we're through. Good job, everyone. You okay? This is the dreaded...
Don't you feel, isn't it a weird feeling?
Alright, it's okay. What a job. You can hang the thing back up. After making the hippocampus lesions, the next biggest hurdle was the stitching. Norman started to squeak and move around as soon as we made the first stitch, so I got a little nervous about that. But Maria and I, we wanted to finish as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Because Norman was moving so much during the stitching, we assumed that he was immediately going to get off the bite bar as soon as we removed the nose clamp and ear bars. However, it took him about another 45 minutes to get off by himself.
Being here during the surgery was fine. The rat didn't die, so I guess that's good.
After a week of rest, we began our post-surgery testing, which is conducted in the same fashion as the pre-testing. It was really surprising to see how Norman improved his time in finding the Fruit Loops over a course of a few days, which was really surprising to us because he had been performing so poorly previously, but then all of a sudden he was actually beating the sham and finding all 4 Fruit Loops in a shorter amount of time. Out of the 6 post-surgery trials, the sham rat made an average of 7 reference memory errors, 1 working memory error, and took 7.5 minutes to find all 4 Fruit Loops.
After looking at Norman's test results, Maria and I joked that we think that we actually fixed him rather than damaged him. For the first 3 post-surgery trials, Norman made an average of 14 reference memory errors, 5 working memory errors, and took 27 minutes. However, for the last 3 post-surgery trials, Norman made an average of 3 reference memory errors, 0 working memory errors, and took 3.5 minutes to find all the Fruit Loops. After performing statistical analysis between Norman and the sham, the results show insignificant differences for each variable.
Even though we were sad about having to decap, we kind of accepted that we needed to do this as part of the research. Because of the change of behavior we saw, we were actually kind of excited to slice the brain to see if we actually hit the hippocampus.
With my head chopping skills and Maria's skull cracking skills, we finished the whole procedure in 30 minutes. While we were slicing the brain the next day, we tried to find the lesions that we made on the hippocampus, but Jason and Julie said that we won't be able to actually see it, so we were a little disappointed with that. Overall, this class took a lot of time and effort from us, but in the end, it was a good experience and learning opportunity. I mean, before I started this class, I couldn't even touch animals. Now I was able to actually pick it up and weigh it and everything.
There was so much work involved, but at the end it was really rewarding to see the progress we made, get the experience of working with live animals, and then actually performing a brain surgery and seeing that whole process through was really amazing, and I'm glad I took this class.
In the arms of